In life, she has been described as a beautiful yet strange, hermetic, and antisocial woman who preferred to live far away from human civilization, in manor homes built for her from her seemingly boundless wealth. Like her, Valderan vampires tend to live in distant places such as the borderlands and edges of Innistrad's provinces. Olivia was sought out by a resident planeswalker, Soren Markov, to help him with his quarrel with Nahiri. In exchange for Olivia's services, however, Olivia requested that Soren killed his beloved angel, Avias. After this wish was fulfilled, Soren and Olivia assembled a vampire army and went to war against Nahiri. During the war against Nahiri, Olivia was seen leading her own host of vampires against Nahiri's cultists. When Nahiri finally confronted Soren on the battlefield, Olivia intervened, telling Nahiri that despite how much Soren deserves what is happening and how much she would love to allow Nahiri's vengeance, Soren enlisted her help and she cannot allow Nahiri's revenge. Nahiri then summoned a swarm of Eldrazi fiends to occupy Olivia and her vampires while she dueled Soren. Alright, so you have New Blood. Additional cast, you have to tap a vampire you control. Gain control of a target creature, they become a vampire. Awesome. Olivia Aldarin. Vampire Creation Station right there. One hit. Drana, you get to play the opponent chooses a creature from your graveyard with its non-legendary, put it on the play, it's +1/+1, and it's a vampire. Olivia Mobilized for War. You play a card, play a creature, and he gets +1 and becomes a vampire. Can't go wrong with that. Like I said, Vampire Creation Station. Now, we also have some synergy between Olivia Mobilized for War and Drana at the same time. Because whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may discard. Here's the thing. You drop Drana, you attack with Drana, they pick a creature. Let's say Hired Poisoner. Then you get the trigger from Drana, which makes it a +1/+1, gives it +1/+1, and it's a vampire. Then also on top of that, you discard a card, which triggers it again, which means you get another +1/+1 counter on that creature. So that Hired Poisoner that is a 1/1 with Death Touch is now a 3/3 with Death Touch. And it's a vampire, so can't go wrong with that. Reanimation. Alright, so we have Young Necro. Whoa, wait a minute. Young Necromancer. Am I the only one noticing something a little bit about that headpiece right there? Thank you, Zbex, for letting me use this picture. Alright, so we have Young Necromancer, Nizumi, Grave Robber, Whisperer, Blood the Triggest. I mean, obviously, can't go wrong with any one of these cards. The only one that might have a little bit of an issue is the Nizemi Grave Robber, since it is more focused on, this deck is more focused on the putting our stuff in the graveyard, not the opponent's. But I figured might as well give it a shot. And the flip side to it, the tap 4 and a swamp and put target creature card in your graveyard from in a graveyard into play under your control. That's pretty nice. You got No Priest of Oblivion, Doom Necromancer. Obviously, you need the kicker cost to bring back something with No Priest, but she's got Menace and Lifelink, which is excellent. Doom Necromancer, I mean, come on, tap Swamp, tap it, sack it, and you get a creature onto the battlefield. Then we got Chainer, Nightmare Adept. Can't go wrong. Discard a card. The discard synergy is heavy in this deck. Obviously, you get to cast a creature spell from the graveyard this turn. Whenever non-creature token enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste. That's really nice as well. Alright, we have Isareth the Awakener. Can't go wrong with the extra. I mean, whenever she attacks, you do have to pay, but you get an extra body on the battlefield. It might have to be exiled if it leaves, unless you have a way to get rid of the counters. Vampire Hexmage comes to mind. Of course, we have classic Reanimate. We also have in here Beacon of Unrest, Bond of Revival, Blood for Bones, Victimize, Rise from the Grave, and Torrent of Souls. Torrent of Souls is a nice one because of the fact that you get +2/+0 and it gains haste if you use both a swamp and a mountain to pay for it. Next couple selections are more honorable mentions for reanimation because you don't really get to keep. I mean, Eldest Reborn, obviously, it takes a little bit to get to it. But Ritual Return, you have an exile creature from your graveyard, and you got a zombie with it equal to its power and toughness, or Gruesome Encore. You have to exile it at the beginning of the next end step. So I mean, there is a few different issues with that. Now on to the rest of the creatures that go into the rest of the 99. Zagaris, Thief of Heartbeats. I mean, I'm not really one for the party mechanic, but I seen this and he actually works rather nicely in this deck. Can't go wrong with giving everything Death Touch. Maragoth, Blood Skysire, and Rix Maddie Reveler. Obviously, the wheel effect for Rix and the Vampiric Tutor for Maragoth is excellent for this deck. Trespasser Elvek, discard. He gains Shadow until end of turn. I mean, Shadow is a lovely mechanic from back in the day. I wish they brought Shadow back. Neheb, Dreadhorde Champion. You probably wonder, I mean, you got the wheel effect, the discard for the, well, yeah, the discard synergy, not the wheel effect, sorry. But the discard and the mana add, so you can't go wrong with that. Also, I'm not going to bring up the picture, but also in this deck is Bog Initiate, and there's a nice little combo between those two. You'll find out why. Solemn Simulacrum, I mean, ramp, body, card draw engine, can't go wrong. More discard synergy right here with the Skurstad Supplicant. Discard, each player loses 2 life, that's rather nice. Sanitarium Skeleton, something you constantly kill off and bring back, kill off, bring back, kill off, bring back. I mean, it's nice. One of my personal favorites, just because Malfagor, when you enter this battlefield, discard your hand. Discard is nice, but, and the fact that each opponent has sacrifice a creature discarded this way makes it even more sweet. Now we also have the Kindly Stranger with the Delirium trigger to become Demon Possessed Witch and targeted removal. Judith, Scourge Diva. I mean, come on. Hired Poisoner, like I showed earlier. Gotta have this bad boy in any black deck. If he is not in a black deck, I don't know why you don't have Gary. I mean, you need Gary. He is much needed. Obviously, kill him off, bring him back, kill him off, bring him back, kill him off, bring him back. Flicker it, if you have any way of flickering him in and out. Excellent. Then we got Acrobat. I just liked the Spectacle cost and the fact she only costs 3, and the Death Touch and -2 is kind of nice too. I mean, especially if you get her haste out there and you have the ability to use the Death Touch right away. Anj Falconwrath, I know, lovely commander from C19, but just the discard synergy. I mean, obviously there's no madness in this deck, so the second part of it doesn't really work, but the discard synergy with drawing the card, can't go wrong with that. I also have in here Blood Cultist. I've always loved Blood Cultist. It's one of my favorite cards since I started playing. I just wish she was a vampire instead of just a human wizard. If she was a vampire, she'd be even cooler in this. But you gotta think, you can make her a vampire with Olivia, so even better. Yes, Bog Initiate. Like I said, with Neheb, using Neheb's mana from his discard, you can actually tap that mountain and make it into a swamp. So, continuously doing this, even with like Soul Rings and all your colorless lands that you have in these decks, Bog Initiate can be worked out into nice movements. Alright, Fire Xing Rager, obviously. Lose life, draw a card. Can't go wrong with that. Need that. I also have Overeager Apprentice in here, once again with the discard. Sacrifice it, add 3. Can't go 3 swamps. Can't go wrong with that. I put in here Bone Miser. Once again, another lovely card from C19, just because of the self-discard. Works out pretty nicely in this. Other creature creations are called the Bloodline. I mean, obviously, tap 1, discard, once again. Get the Vampire Knight. And then you also have in here Zombie Infestation. I mean, I know it's not a zombie deck, but still bodies, still discarding. Now, artifacts. Obviously, Arcane Signet, auto-include. I added in here Blade of the Blood Chief, just because when a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. If it's a vampire, you put 2 instead. Wonderful card. Great synergy with all the rest of the vampires in this deck. I also put in here Grimoire of the Dead. I know it's kind of slow, but you do get to bring back everything from all graveyards, so they become black zombies in addition to their other creature types. I also put in here the Key to the City. Once again, discard, synergy, can't go wrong with that. Also like the untap, pay 2, draw card. That's actually kind of nice. I did put Mirage Mirror in here as well. I mean, Mirage Mirror is one of those cards that's actually pretty intense and game-changing in certain points. Of course, Rakdos Signet to go alongside with the Soul Ring if you get it right off the bat. I also put in here Vessel of the Endless Rest, due to the fact that it takes something from your graveyard, puts it in the bottom. Also just flavor. I mean, it's vampires. Okay, so on to the next grouping is instants and sorceries. I mean, obviously you have your tutors, vampiric, demonic. I know there are some people that don't like tutors. I like them, but I'm not looking for my win cons because unfortunately I don't really have any win cons. Mine's just themes. That's pretty much it. After that we got Demonic Dread, which I just love for the Cascade ability. I mean, there's only a few 2-drops in here, so that is one thing that is not always going to pick something great up, but it picks up. We also have Shrouded Lore. Choose a card in your graveyard and you may pay a swamp. If you do, repeat the process. And then when you get to that choice, that card that you want. Oh no, target opponent chooses a card in your graveyard. Okay. So they choose. You don't want it, pay the swamp, and you just keep doing it until you either get what you want or you run out of swamps. Estancia Banquet, vampires once again, get the draw card. Feed the Swarm, got the creature and enchantment removal. Dismember creature removal. Liturgy of Blood. I really like this one just because of the fact you can destroy a creature, and you also get the extra 3. Tragic Fall. Can't go wrong with -3/-3, and then if you have Hellbent, it gets -13/-13, which makes it even sweeter. Because of all the discards you'll be doing, Hellbent is a very good possibility. Alongside all those, I also do have a few board wipes in here. Blasphemous Act, Damnation, Consume the Meek. I know it's only mana cost 3 or less, but it's still pretty decent, especially at instant speed. I also have in here Kindle the Carnage. I was a little questionable about this card, but the fact you discard a card at random. If you do, it deals damage to equal to each creature at the cost of their converted mana cost. And you can repeat this any number of times. So I mean, you have a decent hand. If you don't have a decent hand, and you're like, why not just drop it? And you have, let's say you have a 5, and you only have enough for the 3. You're dealing 5 damage to all the creatures on the field. And how often does that actually do enough to knock out some pretty heavy duty people? I also put Creeping Dread in here, just because of the fact that it's, once again, discard. But the fact that there's life lost with the discarding. I know a lot of these discarding cards would actually go rather nicely with Tergrid also. I did realize that after the thought, though. And the last but not least, the mana base. In here, obviously, you got Blood Crypt, the Graven Cards, tap lands, but you got the Akarum Refuge and the Bloodfell Caves, gain life, Cinder Barrens. We also have a few tech lands. I mean, Ghost Quarters, got Destroy Target Land, which is awesome. Myriad Landscape, which gives you 2 basics. Evolving Wilds, which gives you a basic, and Command Tower, obviously. And then you have in here we also have the Cycling Lands and the Gateway Plaza. Just a couple little mana fixtures here and there. But other than that, that is pretty much it in the deck, other than your basics, which I believe I only have 9 swamps and 8 mountains, I believe. I may be off on the count, but that is it. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. It did take me a little longer than what I wanted to make it, but it is here, it's up, and I hope you guys have a great night. Alright, next up, we will have, I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna figure something out. Alright, have a good one, guys.